Welcome to Conversations with Klana, made for the modern woman who wants to raise her self-esteem, increase her satisfaction, and build happy and loving relationships with herself and others. More and more, women feel they have lost their spark and the connection to themselves and miss deep intimacy in their lives. Rather than accept a life that doesn't shine, they want to change to one that does. Join the conversation each week when Klana and her guests explore practical ways and positive solutions to living a new, authentic life based on self-love, connection, harmony, and joy. Now, here is your host, transformation catalyst, author, and speaker, Klana.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of Conversations with Klana. Today I have a nice guest from Portland, Oregon. And this is Emily Dalsfoist. She is an unfolding human being, musician, ceremonialist, witch, we need to come back to that, yoga instructor, lover, and student of Mother Nature and all her children. From a very young age, Emily has used sound, her voice, body, and musical instruments to connect with herself, spirit, and other beings more deeply. She is interested in voice and vibrations as a path to healing and awakening and the intersection of music, yoga, and the work of social justice. So I am curious to hear more from you, dear Emily. Welcome again.
Thank you. I feel very honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I was on your website and I clicked on something and then I came to another website of yours and that made me completely curious. And I thought, yes, because I saw that wonderful video you have there where you are teaching a class. And that caught my attention because me as a coach, I'm always happy when I see people doing what they love most. And you are integrating all of your gifts, maybe not all of your gifts, but a lot of your gifts into that class. Let us hear about that.
I love that you found that page and you watch that video. That video was just such an extension of our hearts, and I say our because of my heart and my co-facilitator and partner in that project, Colin Hogan, and it's exactly like what you named, Klana, of all of the things that we love, like wrapped together. And to be honest, I don't know where to start because that the fruit of our project is called Hum, Yum, and the Hymns, which Hum and Yum are the Bija mantras. Hum is the throat chakra Bija mantra, and Yum is heart. So that is kind of like our putting together those two things. And then the hymns is very literally the two gentlemen who have pronouns he, him that play with us. So it's Hum, Yum, and the hymns. And so, but that project is just like the fruit of a lot of working through my own story into that and finding my community and finding the people that really get me and I understand them and we resonate together in more ways than just on the physical plane. Right. So yeah, that's kind of the overarching excitement that I want to share about Hum, Yum, and the Hymns. It's just a beautiful, in my opinion, beautiful offering of just remembering that I'm not just one thing, right? I am a yoga instructor. I am a musician. I am a ceremonialist, like all of these things. And then to have an offering where I can put all that together. And I just think that it's how I want to show up in the world and how I want other people to show up in the world as their full selves, not separating the band from the yoga or from the work, from the family. You know, it's all, we are complex human beings, right? And that it's a beautiful thing to use art and use self-expression to remind myself of that and to hopefully inspire other people to remember that as well.
You inspired me just by watching it, and I felt the love that is in that kind of work, you know. And shall we tell the people a little bit about it, or shall we keep it more secretly so that they go there and watch it? So,
Well, I mean, I love mystery, so you know,
uh,
you'll have to find out about it yourself. No, I can tease. I can tease it. So our oh, can I ask you, Klana? Actually, can I put you on the spot? And what did you get out of watching the video? Like, how would you describe it? Um,
it made me totally curious. When I come once to Portland, I want to attend such a class, even though I personally am not such a yoga fan, but there was touch involved, there was music involved, and that combination was just precious.
yes, yes. Um, I love that because that is all involved. And so our idea is both Colin and myself, we met through the yoga studio, teaching at a yoga studio. And we just became quick friends and deep, you know, on deep levels because we shared not only music, love. We both been with our partners for a really long time and traveled from different places to meet in Portland. And so we had a lot of shared interests and shared loves. And so I was talking with her at one point about wanting to do like, oh yeah, me and my husband, or you want to do some music for yoga classes, or maybe we should do that. And her and her husband had done music for yoga classes and things like that. And then her idea, she was like, well, what if we just do it all? So, which at first, to be honest, was kind of blew my mind. I was like, I don't know if I could handle that. Like my mind was about to explode, which now I know when that happens, it just takes a little bit of rewiring. And um, I heard this recent concept from somebody on Instagram about how chaos is really creativity. It takes creativity to kind of channel the chaos. So that's what helped me like wrap my mind around this concept. And then we did it. And so we teach a yoga class, Colin and myself, and we co-teach. So at one point she's teaching and then one point I'm teaching. And while we're not teaching and holding space that way, we're singing as we walk around the room. And not so much nowadays with um, we would touch, we both love assists and hands-on touch, and we would bring in essential oils. We have droning music in the background. We would include mantra, very traditional Sanskrit mantra, um, and we would include original songs, and sometimes it would just be like a little jam session. So that's,
Beautiful.
yeah, that's in essence what the class is.
But I need to come to Portland to experience that.
Or we need to, you know, travel to you. We can travel to you.
When we are allowed to do that again, it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
So you told me you are a witch too. Can you go on to this? Makes me curious
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny how spirit just is like, um, and this is part of why I love music and voice and writing lyrics too, is because there's this little, you know, sparkly thing in me that's like, oh, put this in there because then you're going to have to talk about it. Or put this in there because then, you know, this is a way to let everybody know. So this is a recent kind of unveiling of myself and acknowledging myself as a witch. Um, who and I feel like it's an identity that I've always connected with. I just didn't have that name for it, or I didn't admit to that name for it. I grew up in a very religious household, um, and so that was like, and I think that was a lot of my draw into that. It's like, ooh, that's that mystery, that kind of taboo, if you will. So. Yeah, in more recent years, I've just kind of acknowledged that that's a part of who I am. and being more vocal about it, because I think that's important, and for myself, and for other people as well, as a model of the bravery that it takes to be like, oh, this might not be accepted by everybody, but it's who I really feel like I am, a part of my identity.
Yeah, it's great, and we really, more and more people should be authentic, to show the ones who don't dare yet to be authentic too, because only when we are our true selves, we can shine our lights really bright. And that was the point, what I loved about the video when I saw the video, not the video itself, but what happened in there.
Yes, yes, and I love how you bring that out in your podcasts as well. And I've listened to a few now, and I feel that that connection with you, and that, like, I appreciate that about your podcast, is bringing that out and sharing it with the world.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I think that the word, and I love words, right? A wordsmith, a songwriter, and things like that. So I think the word witch just gets people put it in a certain box, and to me, a witch just means a connection with the elements, and with the world of the unseen, and embodying that and bringing that into the more 3D tactile world.
What kind of ceremonies are you leading?
Yeah. Well, as of now, I mean, ceremony every day for me, my personal ceremony.
Yeah.
Right. As far as other ceremonies, I do a new moon ceremony with cacao with a dear friend of mine, Freedom, and using cacao as a plant ally to just honor the next cycle of the moon. And we do some movements, and this is virtually right now, but I view every class, every yoga class that I instruct, as a yoga ceremony of sorts. And coming up will be, I have a few things in the works. So like a chill yoga series that I'm partnering with another movement instructor and yoga teacher, Rebecca Sunshine, coming in December. And so that is a type of ceremony. Another type of ceremony that I really loved, and I don't know if they would call it a ceremony, but I was asked, again, Colin, my friend, she has a band, and they did an album release, but it was a virtual album release. Partly they allowed some people to be there in the theater and all the things, but I didn't know that I loved, this is kind of when I actualized my identity as a ceremonialist. It was like, oh, can you bring some of your things to decorate the stage, so when they do the video, it'll look nice, right? And I was like, oh yeah, amazing. So not only, and she doesn't know that I did all this, which is exciting. So if Colin ever watches this podcast, which I hope she does, this is a new thing for her. But I went to the theater and brought all of the beautiful things, like, that are from nature, and I set up a few different decor stations, I guess you could call them, but I would call them altars. And each of them, had the 5 elements acknowledged, and some special things that I think that they, as a band, would like to have in their space. And then I thought how fun it would be to call in the 4 directions, and set up the whole theater as like a ceremony, and not just a show.
Yeah.
There's beauty to that, right? But the whole ceremony. So I walked around the theater and called in the 4 directions, and then called in spirit and protection for everybody, and even who was watching. And that, I mean, regardless of if the band or the people watching felt any different, I felt different watching the show and just being in the space. And so I think that is a lot of what a ceremonialist is, and I'm still defining that identity for myself. Is like just an internal experience as you're doing things. So whether it's brushing your teeth or washing the dishes.
To me, it sounds like there's a lot of more awareness and consciousness involved.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of energy that you created in the room and in that space. So I think people definitely will feel it, even though if they might not be able to name it.
Right. Yeah. Or something unconscious in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
There's so much, you communicate so much through wordlessness, right?
Yeah. Is there? Would you like to talk a little bit about your private ceremonies, or is that too intimate? So
No,
that maybe there's something that other people can take a chance to try it as well and to get some benefits out of this.
yeah, thank you. I don't mind sharing it all. There's some pieces that are staples, and it's basically connecting with the elements, um, and my body and the elements as my body and myself as mirror of the earth. A lot of it is um, Lama Rod Owens, um, who I read his book and I really look up to as a spiritual guide, refers to as your circle of care. And so the circle of care, remembering that, whether it's your ancestors or the people that you love, the animals that you love, whether they're here or in the 3D or passed on, um, and the books, like the sacred texts, whether that be your favorite novel or the Bhagavad Gita, anything that just allows you. So that's a lot of my ceremony, is remembering that. Remember the circle of care that is with me at all times, and I can just call it with my mind. I don't have to have the physical book or the physical person. It's nice.
Yeah.
So there's that, and it doesn't have to be much, right? So if you look at, I'm looking around at something that I have. So it doesn't look very nice, but this is a cedar bundle that I made. And so it can be just this, or just a rock. And earth, the element earth has all the other elements in there. So, or your body, you can just have your body and think about all of the elements, fire as your digestive system, your digestive fire, and the energy to move you in the world. Earth is your physical tissue. Water as the fluids in your body, your blood, your lymphatic system. Air as your breath. And space as the space that you inhabit as you move through the world. And you can just look around you for the space between all of the things. Right? And so it doesn't have to be a big thing with bells and whistles and you have to buy all this stuff to do a ceremony. It can be just connecting with your body, right? And you're in ceremony.
Which is very important in my opinion. Always connect with your body, because so many people have lost the connection to themselves and they can find it through their bodies. And if you go only up into the skies and into the non-physical realm, you are not connected with your body either. And especially in these times, we need to be very connected with our bodies. And it best works with your breath.
I love that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
What else do you want to share with our listeners?
Well, I love what you said about connecting with our body. And I think that it can be really fun to go out, right? It can be, exciting and go all kinds of places, right? And from my experience doing that, and maybe that being my tendency, right? If I look at my habits, like when I don't want to be here, that's where I go. However, I know from experience, when I come back, it's all still here, right? It's all like how I left it. And so the work, I think, in this time is through the body, and it's bringing, for me, it is bringing the more ethereal realm, the more spiritual realm, or the more out there, remembering that it all exists in here as well, in my body and in this world. And that's where it can be super powerful.
Yeah.
And that's where I can channel that connection, and make it a difference that matters in my own life, because, and all beings' lives, because I know that we are all connected. Like, there is, in order for me to be liberated, which is what I want, all beings have to be at that liberation. All beings have to be liberated, and I really feel that, especially now.
Yeah.
I feel it in a different way.
And this is important, that we all find our own unique way how to be present in the moment and feel good as we can, even though, or yeah, especially when the whole world seems to crumble down and everything is in chaos. It's even more important that we do our best to be with ourselves and centered, because when I do that, everything is okay. And it doesn't mean that I am ignoring things. Of course, I also ignore things. That's human as well.
I hear that.
Yeah. But what you said, you bring all what is in you as well. And we just need to find it. And that works only in peacefulness, in quietness. Yeah. And yeah, when we are calm and with ourselves, not so much bustle and zzz around us. What we still have.
Absolutely. And that goes to, reminds me of why music is so important, is that it brings me back.
Yeah.
And especially playing music with others. I love playing music with other people and collaborating, because if I find myself not present, that's when I make a mistake, or that's when it doesn't feel like I'm connected with the group. But if I'm, in my center and finding that piece of quietness right in the core of my being, like you mentioned so beautifully, that's when I can really connect. And I might make a mistake on, play the wrong note or whatever it is, but it's just, it feels better.
Yeah, it's fun. And we don't need to be perfect. I forgot a few years ago already to be perfect. Sometimes I just don't mind anymore.
Yeah.
Be real. And nobody's perfect. Just do what you like. That's the most important thing. And listen to your body, what it wants. So before we did this recording, I was so tired. I needed to take a nap. Here in Germany, it's going to be evening, but it was the afternoon. Usually I don't sleep at that time, but it doesn't matter. So, and I really want to recommend everybody, especially in these times, listen to your body and do what your body tells you to do. And sometimes, like yesterday, I was dancing around in my apartment.
Yeah.
It was time to dance. And music, as you mentioned before, Emily, is such a beautiful means to find back to yourself. I think a lot of people know that already.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful way to get your deep self out. Like, growing up, I remember, and this is a pretty normal thing, I think, with a lot of people, is feeling like my emotional landscape was too much for the people around me at that time, and even now sometimes. And so I found that my voice, or writing music, I could be dramatic. And then when I was in high school, I loved drama and plays and would act in school plays, and things like that. But that drama of allowing your emotions and the deep emotions that might not be so more socially acceptable, I think that's changing now. I hope that's changing now.
It just wanted to say that it's changing now. It must change.
It has to. But music was a way for me to express that in a safe way, and also my anger in a safe, beautiful way. And I have a song lyric that's like, I can channel this anger into something beautiful and creative and offer it to you, because I think everybody has the ability to express what they really feel in a way that creates the least amount of harm. I know that my actions might impact somebody in a harmful way. I acknowledge that, because we do make mistakes. But how can I try to be the least harming in my self-expression? And music has really allowed me to do that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of folks, I'm a pretty cheerful, kind of upbeat, joyful human being. And I really believe that is always true. And then the music that I write tends to be different, right? Different than that. So it's interesting to see people kind of meet me and get to know me on one way, and then go to a show of mine and be like, oh, whoa, I did not know that you gonna sing like that, or whatever it is. But that's another beauty of like allowing all of my complexity to be seen. I mean, I do think that there's also some beautiful private things that I'm just going to keep to myself and partner or whoever, even just myself. But I enjoy that.
This is so beautiful that you really found a way to live so many facets of your being. And I wish that everyone is soon able to do that for themselves too. Is it possible to listen to your music online or somewhere? Or can you buy it?
Yeah, we have, I say we, but it's my band Siren, and you can find it all on my website. And you can go to my website, emilydalsfoist.com. But I'm on Bandcamp, and Siren is spelled SYRAN. And you can go to Bandcamp and type in Siren, and I've got 2 albums up there.
Great.
And I collaborate with a lot of folks. So yeah, and the Hum Yum and the Hymns page as well. And you can connect with me on Instagram. Sometimes I'll post little videos of songs and things like that on there.
Are you also delivering yoga sessions online now?
Yes. Yeah. I teach 2 times a week. It might work for those all across the globe, I guess, depending on the time. But I teach 8 a.m. on Wednesday and Friday. 8 a.m.
Pacific time. Okay, cool. Emily, I will put the links in the show notes so that people can contact you if they want to. And I thank you so much. It was a great talk with you, and I always love it to meet lovely people like you and all my other guests.
Yes. Thank you for having this platform and allowing me to be on your podcast. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and dear listener, if you like it, visit us on our platforms, websites, and wherever, and give this podcast a thumbs up. You can also watch the podcast on my YouTube channel. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Klana. Remember to follow us on social media and get connected. Visit our website, conversationswithklana.com, for show notes and additional episodes. And if you like this broadcast, please share it with your friends to help us empower more women to live an authentic and happy life and make this world a better place for everyone.